The first project was the PG&E Gas Operations Center, which was based off the need for that project was based off of a gas explosion that took place in the peninsula in the San Francisco Bay Area, where quite a few people were killed. It was near SFO Airport. At first, reports were coming in on TV, and you could see these flames that were huge. They thought it was a plane crash. And as soon as I saw it, I could see it was a very constant burn, and it was, 150 feet in the air, and it wasn't dissipating. It wasn't changing. It was just shooting. And it was about an hour into it before PG&E, which is the gas and electrical provider here in our area, realized it was their lines. Now, someone probably knew something earlier on, but before it was announced that there was a gas leak, and it was I think it was bringing fuel down to the airport. The state government said that they needed to create the gas operations center where they were all in one place where they could communicate better. So we ended up putting these groups together. And I think in both projects, PG&E Gas Operations Center and New York Power Authority ISOC projects, they weren't just a command center or a critical facility location. They were also workplace related. There were, I would say, in each of those locations, maybe a third of the project was critical facility and the rest of it was workplace environments. Plus, you also had to realize that this was a facility that could be manned by 3 or 4 people, with things being remote in a non-critical environment, to when something had gone really wrong and everyone is in, and they're needing to be in the command centers where the entire place is filled, and you needed places for that. So people could be there for 7x24 for multiple days. They could be staying there. You needed kitchens to cook just like you would if you were living there. So I thought the two projects were a great fusion between workplace and critical facilities. And I think that's why, to me, they were some of the best projects we did, because it wasn't just for equipment and it wasn't just for people, but it was a hybrid in one place. Both of the projects were placed into existing buildings. So it wasn't something that we were designing from scratch. You have different drivers in those, but in these cases, we were going into existing facilities. NovaLink was not involved at first on the Gas Operations Center. It wasn't until PG&E was requiring us to go out and select a command center desk manufacturer for the project. There weren't that many. There were providers, but a lot of them, first of all, they're very expensive pieces of equipment, and there's a lot of technical information that you need to go through. And by the time we got into it, we needed to know how many monitors, what sizes were they, what kind of equipment was going to be in the desk versus was going to be remotely located. What are they trying to view? What are they viewing on their desk? What are they viewing on screens? How many do you need? How big's your location? And once you know how many you need and you know all those other parameters of how many monitors, what size monitors, what you're looking at, all of a sudden you don't have an infinite amount of space. So how many could you even fit in here? A lot of times they were making decisions based on the way their existing facilities might have been, which was old technology. So we said it would be better if we narrowed down who the manufacturer for the desks will be because they wanted to bid things out. We said, you don't have the time to go through this process to find out. You might get the less expensive choice if that's what your driver is and how you're going to decide what it's going to be. But you're going to go through it, and you're still then going to have to refine your design to be very, very specific to what the client ultimately wants to have.